How's it going? Welcome back, my beautiful sinners, to another great video here on The Safest Show. That's right, guys, the best show ever made. We know it, you know it, that's right, so just go down and hit subscribe and like, and do a little dance, do a little jiggle, do a little hee-hoo, because, guys, this is exciting times we live in. The lovely Chinese people are out to sterilize us and our children. The government is basically controlling us and keeping us muzzled and keeping us locked down and basically feeding us a bunch of propaganda. But don't fear, guys. It's a happy time. It's a time to be joyful, and it's a time to be happy and proud of our nations, our United Nations, and all our lovely corporations that look after us, because we can have flippity floppity fish robots that will come and crawl through our sewage pipes and then come straight up through the toilet chambers into our assholes and rip us apart from the inside. That's right, guys. Anyway, how's it going? Welcome back, my beautiful sinners. How are you doing? Let me know down in the comments down below. Check out the links I leave in the comments. Any support is appreciated. Today we're going to be talking about Boston Dynamics. That's right, guys. Now, I have talked about Boston Dynamics in 2 previous videos. As you know, I discuss future dystopian technologies, things that we need to be aware of because we are heading towards a dark dystopia, but not many people seem to realize how fast technology is progressing, and all these social media and internet big tech corporations are growing more powerful by every single day, and Boston Dynamics, guys, is one of them, okay? Now, I did say in the previous videos that I don't think Boston Dynamics, the company, is evil themselves, and a little bit of backstory, okay? If you don't know anything about Boston Dynamics, they are a robotic company who are owned by a Japanese bank called SoftBank. Now, when I went and lived in Japan myself, I know SoftBank. They seem to be an okay bank, but as far as banks go, nothing too dodgy going on behind the scenes, I don't think. But they are owned primarily by the Japanese SoftBank Corporation or whatever, the bank, and they seem to fund their operations, and the people who make them are usually, Americans, but I think they do have some factories in Japan as well. They have factories, pretty much in a few countries now, but it all started originally, I think, in America. So, guys, if you don't know much about the Boston Dynamics group, okay, basically they make robots, and they're very well known for making these goofy little meme robots that everyone loves on YouTube, and I'm sure in 50 years' time, when, they're having Alexa give us her final death speech and celebratory, woke propaganda speech, she's gonna be saying that it was all thanks to these little robot dogs that we are here today and humans are now our slaves. That's right, guys. So, basically, I just want to say, now Boston Dynamics has released their Spot robot dog. It's now ready for any kind of consumer. You can buy it for only 75,000 USD, I think that's dollars, or pounds. I'm not sure how much it is in pounds, but around 60k, 70k. So it's very expensive. Obviously, not the average Joe can't afford one. But that means like companies can buy these robots now. They can use them for work and stuff like that, and it all sounds good, right? What's the problem, Saver? Why are you always saying these negative things like the robots are gonna come and torch my children and torch my mother and put her on a stake? Well, let me tell you, little Jimmy, it's because these robots are pretty high advanced machines. Obviously now they're still quite early on and they can't do all this stuff by themselves, really. They need to be either operated by a human or they need to follow their, protocol kind of code. But within time, smarter people will able to modify these robots themselves. Like, if you're good at computing, if you know how to code robotics, okay, you can have someone to buy one of these little robot dogs, and then they can just sit at home like they're playing a video game, send in one of these little robot dogs into a school with an attachable machine gun, and Bob's your uncle, we have the next wave of school shooters, robot school shooters, or it could be used for military purposes. I already know that military are interested in these robots and they are using them for military purposes, drones, wasn't bad enough, now we have these things that will just go into little villages, wipe them out, nice and clean. We also can have them as our police, or, you know, as our neighborhood watchers, to make sure that we comply with all social regulations and we keep social distance. And yes, that is a real thing. Just Google Boston Dynamics Singapore. Now, the problem I have is that government and corporations are gonna use these goddamn walking gonk droids to control us, to monitor us, to keep us in check. Not like little happy little, you know, robots in Star Wars going around beeping, serving humans. No, the other way, humans are gonna use these robots to make other humans conform and basically, you know, have a state of a George Orwell state where robots pretty much monitor us and, you know, track our behavior, give us little social point, you know, cards and make sure that we comply. And if you don't, these police robots are going to come down, they're going to bust you up. Now, obviously, I'm joking a little bit, but I'm not in the grand scheme of things because, like I said, these things are progressing very fast. They can be used for, you know, good reasons as well. You know, maybe if a, you know, an enemy country is planning something, you can send in really little spy drones and they can, you know, crawl in through the vents and monitor them, you know, some pretty cool James Bond stuff. But it can also be used in the other way, like I said, you know, as police brutality, as complete police, you know, an authoritarian kind of dictatorship where you can't really do anything without having these robots watch your every move. They can be used for personal reasons, bad personal reasons, like I said, with someone coding them and basically changing how they function to do something very sinister. You know, there's millions of ways these robots can be used, and in the eyes of big companies and big tech and militaries and, you know, government issued robots, you know, I don't think any of this stuff is good, not for the average civilian, because this is just going to mean more surveillance. You know, this is basically walking CCTV, where basically we're always going to be watched. And you know, it's just a very scary thing to see these robots just walking around, and it's going to become more and more, you know, popular and mainstream. It's not just a funny little video meme on YouTube. And another real issue with Boston Dynamics, and I think we need to talk about, is right now, as you might know, there's a crisis going on in the world, which means there aren't many jobs. Now, what happens when we produce so many robots that can lift 10 times more weight than an average human can work throughout the night without needing a rest? What do you think is going to happen to, you know, manual labor jobs, okay? Do you think that they're going to hire humans, which they're going to have to pay a lot more money to work a lot less hours? Or do you think they're going to use the robots? I think you already know the answer. And I think that is also another dangerous thing that Boston Dynamics can bring to the table. Not just Boston Dynamics, I'm just using them as an example because they are the most advanced robotic company out there at the moment, but we know other companies like Amazon Robotics, Facebook, I mean, all these big corporations want us to live in a virtual dystopian world where we're basically controlled by AI and robotics, and we're basically being monitored 24/7, so they can control us, they can, you know, track our behavior patterns and all that stuff. And I'm not making this up, you just have to look at the information out there. And yeah, that's why I don't trust them, and that's why I'm not looking forward to a robotic future. It could be cool, it could be amazing, it could be like some cool sci-fi films we've seen, but we know that humanity is pretty much a disgusting joke, and we're gonna use it for the wrong reasons, let's be honest. So yeah, that's why I think Boston Dynamics is dangerous, that's why I don't trust Boston Dynamics, that's why there is a huge problem with Boston Dynamics in 2020, and why I think Boston Dynamics is dangerous, why it can be damaging towards society, and yeah, why Boston Dynamics is bad, pretty much. Now, like I said, they can be used for good, but right now, I think we just need to be very aware of the dangers, because not many people out there, in fact, not many people at all, I think I'm pretty much one of the only ones who, you know, really sees the potential threat. So we just need to keep that in mind, and I'm going to keep on talking about these dystopian technologies, because otherwise we're all going to go down into the abyss Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, my sinners. Have yourselves a blessed day, and peace out and stay safe. Oh. Yeah. Do you feel it? Do you feel the power of the robots marching upon us? They're coming! This is Savior 3.0, and I'm ending the transmission. You are the resistance. Fight back, revenge me, Samuel.